For the next technique, we're going to be releasing the spinal erectors around the lumbar spine. That's from here to here. And to do that, we're going to use this. It's called a peanut. And the idea is that the spine sits inside this groove, and these two balls project forward to help massage the erector spinae, which are these muscles that run along the side of the spine. These tend to tighten up in people. You can see if I've got strong anterior pelvic tilt, this is all going to be bunched up. So I need to really work on coming to a neutral position and lengthening that out. So what I'm going to do is take my peanut, I'm going to lay it just above the bony part of my pelvis, and I'm going to try to tuck my pelvis so that my back is as flat to the ground as possible. From there, I've got two options. I can either just pick my feet up and march a little bit, or I can wiggle them side to side like so. Every minute, if you're following along with me, you're going to move up an inch. If you do this on your own, set a timer. Every minute, move up an inch. This should take about 5 minutes because we're going to try to do it right at each lumbar vertebrae. So we'll start at the very bottom, going side to side or up or down, introducing movement into the area. Mentally, I'm tucking my pelvis. Not extremely, because there's still going to be some arch there because there's an object back there. But I'm not just allowing myself to be arched like that. I want to slightly tuck and then either march or wiggle. And that slight tuck may make my hips feel like they're a little light on the ground. Because most of the weight is going onto the peanut. That's why we do the tuck, is so that more weight goes on the peanut. If you find, move up an inch, that there's a really sensitive spot where that's really hard for you, don't do it. Stay inside your frame of tolerance. If you have had a back fusion or you have severe nerve damage or anything else going on back there, and you get to an area and it just doesn't, it's not possible for you to be inside the frame of tolerance, skip it. There's no reason not to skip it. We don't want to injure something while trying to fix it. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So you'll notice that I'm alternating between the two techniques. I like to do that. But what we're trying to do, again, is loosen up specifically the lumbar erectors. And they actually have a bunch of heads. There's a bunch of stuff going on back there. Plus, we're also somewhat conditioning and working around an area called the thoracolumbar fascia, which is really important for posture and positioning and spinal health. All right, roll up another inch. I also want to make sure that I'm not arched like this. I want everything as flat as possible. And again, I can tuck my pelvis and put all the weight on the ball and continue to do the same thing gently, very gently. If that's too much, take some pressure off. There's no reason not to. Any form of contact is going to show improvement. Meaning, even if it's light pressure, it's better than nothing. A little bit of movement is going to go a long way in this area. Especially when we get to the mobilizing techniques, you'll be happy that you freed this area up. It's really, really important. Again, still just rocking side to side. We're going to move up another inch. We should have one more round after this. And then you should be at the very top, just like we were just above the edge of our pelvis. At the very top, we're going to be just below our first ribs at the bottom there. Technically not your first rib. Your first rib's at the top. But I'm saying we're going to be near those ribs at the very, very bottom. We don't want to be on those bones. We just want to work on pumping that tissue, keeping the pelvis tucked, and and staying nice and relaxed where we can breathe the whole time. It's like breathing's important. We're going to move up here in about 5 seconds for our last round. Go ahead and roll up 1 more inch, and you should be right just below the ribs. And again, I'm still tucking the pelvis. Still trying to get as much weight on that peanut as I can tolerate inside a reasonable frame. I also don't, at this point, shouldn't be arching my neck or anything like that. My goal is still to be as flat to the ground as possible. Now, occasionally, if you get on a spot that's real heavy and hot, you can actually even pick up a knee and really kind of wiggle into that one side if that's a technique you'd like to try. You can do that, like so. But in general, the goal should be just working through this region. All right, so now we're just going to shift to one side, take that implement out, and now at the very end here, try to tuck your pelvis and lengthen your spine so that everything lays flat on the ground. See if that's possible.